Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Babe, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Oh, let's see here. Good evening and welcome. I look like it's a little hazy here, but I got my computer to work. It was really miserable the last little bit. What has happened is that I was set to go to the computer store, but they could only book me at 5:20, and I didn't want to have to do the podcast while I'm out on the road. And why is that picture coming from behind me? There's nothing behind me except an empty room. Okay, I'm in another spot. I'm actually at our dining room table here, and maybe if I pull it in, it looks a little bit better. There we go. And I guess the lighting's okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, that's the volume. All right. I'm using my son's gaming keyboard. And apparently the space bar on my laptop computer is causing interactive where the cursor moves, the letters repeated and stuff. So now I can type fine and I don't have to worry about the cursor. I have to somehow fix that. Anyway, I'm glad you're here, that you've joined my podcast. This is very live. It's a warm welcome. You're here to fight CPS and stop taking our children. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host. And you just heard my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, who had a really good message to say, and he does a weekly podcast, 9:30 on Saturday. He has a CPS school you can join. He does a lot for all of you out there. He does a lot for you out there. Now, I'm glad to see Tessa French. I'm sorry about this morning being really hectic, but glad to see you, Tessa. JD, you're my man. You need to talk. You know, I've been promising you for the last couple of days. And I'm going to try and book a 4-hour consultant. Okay, well, let me tell you this. I can tell you about what Mr. Davis has available. Right now, you can call 888-888-6582. That's my office. That's Vincent W. Davis Associates. You can retain Mr. Davis by calling that number. You'll reach my office staff. Just tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you do talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And if you want to book a 4-hour consultation with Mr. Davis, you can do so. But right now, I have a 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. All you have to do is be a guest on my podcast and talk, or call me on my phone and talk, and get you 15-minute of private consultation via Zoom. Now, if that's not long enough and you want 30 minutes of able to work out a deal where if you look at the bottom of my screen, you go to a website and you can book a 30-minute consultation, a private Zoom meeting, and it's only $60 for 30 minutes. $60 for 30 minutes. And he is really excellent. He knows strategies. He knows how to navigate the CPS. He's been fighting CPS for 39 years. He's a trial attorney. He too has been in foster care. So he knows what you guys are going through. And he was my attorney. He helped me get my kids back. I too was a victim of CPS. And they were awful. 5 years, they were harassing me because a layperson, which were my in-laws, my wife's mother and father and 3 sisters and a brother, were calling in once a week soon after I lost my job through no fault of my own. I've been working for 60 years, not 6 years, 45 years. I'm 60 years old when I lost my job in 2010. And it's been really a struggle to find work because of my age and think dinosaurs. It's really interesting. I found out from the Department of Motor Vehicles of California that you're no longer a senior after you turn 70. You're considered an elderly person at 70. I'm 75, and they say that they don't like people driving past 70 and they discourage it. I know in the Philippines, you can't work past 55. They say you have to retire at 55. I don't know what there is because we have an elect president who's well into his 80s. So if you can handle the job of president of the United States, I'm pretty sure I can handle any job there. So anyway, I was getting harassed by CPS. They were bad. And when I talk about CPS, I talk about the child protection system. Every state, every county has a different name. Like in Arizona's Department of Children's Services. In California, it's Child Protection Services. But then next door in the county, from Orange County to LA County, it's called the Department of Children and Family Services. In Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. So instead of saying all these different things, I'm going to say CPS. I'm going to say CPS. And so anyway, hopefully tonight we get to a lot of your answers and so forth. I need my touch knee pad is ahead of the keyboard, so it's a different perspective. So more people come into the room besides JD and Tessa. Tessa further said, I'm going to try and book a 4-hour consultant. That was good. Tessa says it's approximately $45,000 for a retainer. I know how much it is. I mean, what state? I forgot what state you are, Tessa. What state? And I need the help. You guys need to tell me your city and state. I think JD is in Ventura, California, or he might be in Los Angeles County. I can't remember that. That was another person. I think it was Alex. Welcome, Christina Farmadale in Inglewood. Okay. That's great. I know you're in Inglewood, so you must be in California. How to visit with siblings in foster care when you're separated. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Most time, the siblings are placed into foster care or to a family members, and both the mom and dad, if they're together, get to visit them. But if you're separated, it's just one at a time. So you have to work that out with your social worker. You have to ask your social worker, when can I visit my kids? And hopefully it's not supervised visits. Hopefully it's just going to their group home they're in or some other place they had. I had to visit my kids that were in a shelter, and then they were switched to my wife's husband and sister for a couple of months, but then the case was taking too long, so they put them into a group home, and then I came out to the group home. Then they were put into single family homes, and then I had to go to a private CPS room where they had these supposedly trained social workers monitoring what you did or said, and you really can't talk about your case. It got worse as time went on. My visitations got worse as time went on. It was terrible. Tessa says, I got a text. He's having a Christmas sale, So instead of 3 to it's 500. Okay, good, Tessa. I forgot what area you're in, Tessa. Are you in Shasta County, California? JD, for 4 hours, I get a text. He's having a Christmas sale, so instead of $3,000 for 4 hours, it's $500. Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal. That's about $125 an hour. So most attorneys are charging from $600 to $800 an hour, and that is a lot of money. A Beverly Hills attorney is $800 an hour. Now, Vincent isn't about money. You may think so, because I had to sell my home to pay for my attorney, Vincent Davis, who I had hired, and it gets expensive when he has to go out of state. See, he's in Arcadia, where his office is. And he has cases in Orange County, LA County, Riverside, and San Bernardino, the big counties around LA. He also goes to Northern California to Shasta County, Merced County, and then he has a case in Oklahoma right now. Now, when he goes far away, you got to cover his air transportation, his ground transportation, his lodging, and the food, because those are 4 things that are called per diem, and that he has to pay extra when he goes out of state. But he'll work in any state there, as long as you understand there's some additional funding that has to be there. So work it out with your social worker, Tessa, and so you can see them when you want to see them. Being separated does not stop you from wanting to see your children. Okay, Tessa, you said yay. And then I have the next message, JD. What does one get with 4 hours? Does he appear at a hearing for you? Okay, what Mr. Davis will do, if a lot of you watched the beginning of my podcast, there was a message from him. He does Zoom meetings where he'll go on a Zoom meeting with you and a private consultation, just you and that person, Mr. Davis and JD, or Mr. Davis and Tessa, and he will talk to you. Now, I have other things too. If you want to pay only you 30 minutes, all you have to do is go to that website at the bottom of my page, that ticket that's running. If you want a free 15 minutes session with Mr. Davis, you have to be a guest on my podcast, or you have to call in and talk on my phone. So that's what it does. Now, JD, you mentioned the other day you wanted to call, and I'd love to have you have a chance to call in there. I'm just trying to confirm Tessa and JD, and Christina's from Inglewood. So that was easy. She wrote it in her Facebook handle, her name and where she's from. So, but I'd really like to help you guys. It helps me if I know where you guys are from. Tessa says, be right back. Okay. And JD says, for what with a question mark? How much more talking does one need? We need action. Well, here's the problem. You're dealing with a very complex agency, the Child Protection System. They're so bad. My social worker retaliated and told my daughter how to get rid of her parents. They're not fair, they're not nice, they're not honest, they lie. They're not transparent. They'll make your life miserable. It's a long, complex thing. And yes, 4 hours is a long time to talk to an attorney. But if you took good notes and did an outline, he can help you how you're supposed to proceed to get your child back. There's a lot of things you don't know about. I mean, for instance, I've been telling you some of my rules, like you do not answer the door to police or to social workers. You don't answer them to CPS. You never knew. Someone this morning, it was a mom, and it was Faye was her daughter who's 15. She had a child at 14, and her mom's boyfriend opened the door. Once you open the door to your home, it's like Pandora's box. It's going to be a nightmare because they're going to look around, and if you have anything that is danger your kids, they're going to see it. Furthermore, they're going to try to grab your kids. The police are very intimidating. They wear their battle fatigues. You know, they're armed to the tooth with all kinds of weapons. They have combat boots. They don't care about your carpet or your furniture. I know this from experience. My police trampled my white lounge chair. It was bamboo and it was broken because they were really excited to look out the window at my swimming pool. I had a $2 million home is what they're looking at, and it was really nice. It was a nice home. I had to sell it quick sale. I had a high mortgage, so I needed a lot of money to hire Mr. Davis because I wanted my family back. I'm a family man. I'm here for you. I care about you. You guys are my family. I'm here twice a day, 7 days a week. I've been doing this for over a year. I've never missed a day yet. I've adjusted my times from time to time. Typically, I'm on at 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. Then in the morning, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning for 1 hour Pacific Standard Time. Now, on Saturday, I come on at 8 so that Vincent Davis, who has a show at 9:30, his show won't interfere with my show, and my people can leave my show to go to his show. On Sunday, I go to church at 10:30, so I do my show at 8 o'clock so I can leave to go to church with my family. So those are the times. Just 2 days on Saturday, I'm on at 9:30. Now, there may be other times. Vincent may decide to do a podcast during my time, and I'll have to reschedule my podcast. But you really have a lot to understand about CPS. It isn't simple. Most of you do not want a dependency. Well, most of you do want a family juvenile dependency lawyer, but most of you cannot afford one. So you're suckered into taking what they call a court-appointed attorney. One of your constitutional rights in any legal matters, you, if you can't afford an attorney to defend you, one will be appointed for you. The only problem is the court-appointed attorneys or the public defenders only know about criminal law. They do not know about juvenile family dependency law. They won't fight for your case because they have 30 or more clients. They're too busy. They won't come to your home. They won't discuss things. They only will show up at the hearings. And since you, in California, I had a court-appointed attorney, I was not allowed in the courtroom. I had no way of knowing if she was performing or not performing. She was a terrible attorney. She didn't know anything. She wasn't aggressive enough, and she never presented the stuff that I was telling her to present. So that's why I had to get a professional attorney. And you should seek out one. There should be two important questions. One, the first question is, are you a juvenile family dependency attorney that has fought CPS and gotten children back? If the answer is yes, the second question is, have you ever sued CPS after your case is closed in state court or federal court and won money? If the answer is yes, you got yourself an attorney to consider. You should try to get 3 quotes. I look at life, I always get 3 quotes. If I'm going to buy a big screen TV, I get 3 quotes. I'm going to buy a car, I get 3 quotes. It's always been in 3s. The same thing goes for attorney. And if you're going to shout a lot of money, a lot of you will get attorneys that are in criminal law, and you'll give them $40,000, and then you wonder why they're not doing anything. It's so important to get the right attorney. My rule number 1 is you need to get an attorney. You got to stay away from the court appointed. Because once you have a court appointed attorney or a real attorney, you no longer can say anything in court. You know, it has to go through the attorney's hands. The attorney has to orchestrate from the defense posture. And it's very terrible when you're going through this because the agency is very corrupt. They're not your friend. Welcome back, Tessa. I'm glad you came. Okay, my story. Well, my story started in 2010 when I lost my job through no fault of my own. I had a high pain level job and I was able to support so my family could stay home and take care of the kids. Unfortunately, after I lost my job through no fault of my own, my in-laws, who I did not know, they're lay people, were calling from Ohio to California and saying stories are not true, like we weren't feeding the children, we weren't clothing the children, we weren't taking them to school. So what I did is I showed them their grade report, showing they're getting A's and B's and their attendance records. So that dispenses that. I showed them my house. I showed them a refrigerator with tons of food in there, where we prepared the food, where we ate the food, where the kids sleep. Each kid had their own room. Each kid had their own bathroom. It was that big of a house, all three of them. And I had my fourth bedroom. Three were for the kids, but my fourth one was a library, study, and a homework room. And my fifth room was the master bedroom, which was big enough for a house itself or my first apartment. Double doors, and you could have a king size bed in there. It had doors that opened up to a little porch overlooking the pool, French doors. Then it had walk-in closets for him and her. It had a toilet closet that you could close and secure and have your privacy. It had a walk-in shower with a seat you could sit on. It had a jacuzzi that overlooked the pool and you could see the ocean down at the beach. So it was a beautiful home. It was a mile from the beach. We had horse trails all around us. You could ride a horse. And if you wanted to, you could keep a horse at your home. And we had parks. We had parks you could fish out of. We had a library, a public library. We had our own wooden area, nature park area in our own complex. And it was sweeping. It was wine. It was beautiful. I couldn't believe I lost all that. I had worked 45 years because I started at age 15 with my first job in 1964. So unfortunately, I left. I had to fight with CPS, but it went on for 5 years. I showed my utility bills. I showed, there's so much every time was stupid. And they were trying to intimidate me and take her children. They never came to our wedding. I've been married 32 years to this wife. I have 42 years of marriage. I have two wives, not at the same time. But unfortunately, the first one didn't work out. I had one child. And with my second wife, I had three children, and then she had two. She gave up one for adoption and one she had on a date. And she does not believe in abortion, which is a good thing because abortion shouldn't be a form of birth control. Anyway, I always say abortion is between a man and woman, not between the older senators and the men and women of Congress. They shouldn't be deciding it. That's why President-elect Trump took the abortion issue out of the federal courts and put it in the state courts. Each state has its own characteristic. Each state should make a determination about abortion. And most of the states are allowing abortion at a certain time period and not for a form of birth control. And it's a decision that the biological parents make. Some are married, some are not married. But abortion isn't the way to go. There's too many beautiful children that are born and stuff. So anyway, I love my family and I determined to get a job. But unfortunately, with my age, they thought age 60 was bad. Well, I did get a job. Well, I have a job now. And it's with Bangladesh wages. And I'm only working 14 hours a week. I want to work more, but I'm lucky to get paid when I am getting paid. But the problem is the job, you work a week and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you suddenly owe a lot of money and they finally pay you. It's the most miserable experience that you have to put through with stress because you have to pay bills. And I went from $225,000 a year to $280 a week. That's for 14 hours. That's nothing. I am very, very low income. In fact, I couldn't get my computer repaired today because it would cost too much money. They had a bill of $45 just to look at the computer, which is ridiculous. They should look at it for free. But I did a keyboard test and found out it was my space bar that was making everything go crazy. So I have to take off the key space somehow. So my case got worse and worse because my in-laws were constantly calling to the point where they were coming out every week and stuff. And after 5 years, they wanted something going on because they believe anytime a layperson calls in, they believe that you're guilty. And they will take your child away. They will take your child away. And if they're not in danger, they will. My 3 children were in school and they were ripped from us. They weren't in danger in our home. And so they sent out a police detective from the police department where I'm living. He somehow found out my routine where I pick up my children and take them home. So he followed me. Then he got the local black and white to pull me over with a bogus charge. Then from there, he came up and said, I'll take over this matter. And then he threatened me. It wasn't a nice experience. He said, you're going to go to your home and open up. I said, what are you talking about? Is my home on fire? Did someone break in? I need to pick up my wife. She's at the place we picked up. She doesn't know what's going on. He refused me. I couldn't even pick up my wife. If I knew the law now, I would have told him, give me a ticket. I'm going to move on. Give me a traffic violation ticket. And I'll take it to court and fight it. But I didn't know that. So I went to my home. And I had my 9-year-old son at the time. He now is 19 years old. So 10 years ago. And he was trembling. I mean, these people are scary when they showed up at my home. They had 5 firemen, 2 code enforcement, 2 uniformed policemen, and a detective, and 3 social workers. Why did they need all these people? For what? Because they didn't have anything on me, and they were determined to find something because they got tired of my in-laws reporting false allegations. And that's something about reporting allegations. They should be in writing and signed by the person making the allegations. So if they're proven bad or false, then they can be sued. You don't make allegations. And right now, lay people are doing it all the time. You know that. Everybody in this room. A neighbor doesn't like the way the grass grows on your yard, or your dog, or the neighbor's dog is barking. Whatever it is, it's called retaliation. They think by calling CPS and make a false report that they retaliate against you. I don't know why people want to retaliate. It's sickening to watch this college-educated, very wealthy child or kid or whatever he is sneak and gun down a guy walking on the street with his back turned. That is wrong. You don't shoot people in the back. And not only that, his rationale, he wasn't even on the hit list. He just wanted to get somebody. And I guess he had other motives. But anyway, we're dealing with that. We're dealing with a 15-year-old girl that came to school, and we don't know all the details. But suddenly a teacher's dead and a student's dead. Why? And then I'm talking about an airman in Gainesville, Florida, that answered the door, and he was shot in the chest 5 times and died on FaceTime. That's why you don't answer doors. That's why you don't answer doors. You don't have to. The only time they can get into your home if you give them permission or someone else gives permission. That's always a bad habit. Someone's so nice, they open the door there. Violence happening where the child's in danger, they're going to break in. Lastly, it's a court warrant they have to have before they can be let into your home, before they can take your child, before they can talk to you. You do not talk to social workers. You do not talk to police. You say very nicely, how can I help you? And then you get their name and say, I need to get my attorney present. That's a good way if you're outside and you encounter these individuals. You see, you need to get your attorney present. And so if you get your attorney present, then it is a legitimate thing. It's a legitimate thing. I've been trying to talk about my story, and it's on. Okay. Tessa French says, I can't afford on. Could medical pay for attorney if it causes me emotional distress? I don't know. I don't think medical would cover emotional distress because it is emotional distress. You can sue them, but it takes money to sue. I had a perfect case. My social worker lied and she committed perjury, and I could sue her, but it would take $50,000 retainer to sue her. I mean, I had the perfect case to win millions of dollars. I could work on a contingency, but I couldn't find anybody that wanted to do a contingency. I know what it is out there. I've been there. Now, Tessa says, my son was eating breakfast and was ripped out of his aunt's arms. That's wrong. That's wrong. Tessa says she got the name of the person, thankfully. Good. And a warrant. Now, I don't know, did you get served a warrant? I think I'm caught up with all my phone calls. Somehow I got knocked off stage. So I may have to use a gaming mouse here. Anyway, a warrant. Now that is a very important, I like to say a moment about warrants. Warrants have to be on, they cannot be a PDF file on a computer. Also, you gotta be careful because CPS will use warrants, old warrants. You need to make sure the date is a working date. A lot of times they use a warrant and it'll be a Saturday date or it'll be a holiday. Judges do not work on holidays. Judges do not work on weekends. It's got to be a legitimate date. Also, it's got to have a very important signature. It has to be a wet ink, and it's got to have a stamp on that signature. It's a specialized stamp that when they pinch the handle together, it raises the lettering and also the signature, so you can't forge it. Because they'll try to use other warrants for other people. Furthermore, it's got to be very clear and concise language. It's got to say the name of the person or persons they're charging, and also the allegations, neglect or abuse, and the children that are being charged. Their name's got to be there also. It's got to give the address of where they can visit, the address, and they also got to have directions of what they can do. Talk to you, take your children, enter the home, search your home, those kinds of things. So that's what a warrant has to have. And that goes too for medical trafficking. We have a lot of people that are bringing their children in that might have a high fever. They have to go urgent care. Or they have to go to emergency room. Or a mother's going to have a baby and she's going to have her baby at the hospital. Well, what is happening is the social workers are working at the hospitals now, and they overhear or they misinterpret something and say it wrong. They think you're doing abuse to the child. For instance, the doctor may say, your child will be fine for 24 hours. What you need to do is see your own pediatrician and ask his opinion. See, you're entitled to other opinions to treat your children long as it's not imminent danger. By the way, that rule number 3 is with the not talking to social workers or police and a warrant in medical trafficking. Rule number 1 is about attorney. So I have talked about my attorney. Now, what I need to do is real quickly, and I forgot to put them up because I had you guys ask for me a lot of questions now. When you text a message into me, please, or a question, be it pertain to CPS, please show your first name, your city or county, and your state, or country. Now, I have people come from other countries. I have people I have right now 18 countries, from Bangladesh to India to the Middle East to Africa to Europe, across the pond to North America, South America, then across the Pacific to New Zealand and Australia. And I've had one person from Mexico City call in and one person from South Africa call me twice. So I am open to anybody with a CPS concern. And so hopefully the mother from South Africa will call again tonight to share her story. Also, please to be complete with your case. Now, if you're going to be a guest on my podcast, all you have to do is email my show producer, Grace. All you have to do is email my show producer, Grace. And she will get you on the podcast. You just pick one of my 14 shows. I'm on morning or evening, Monday through Sunday. You just pick a day, pick a time, morning, afternoon, Sunday, Wednesday, whatever. You email that to her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. She will email you back, give you the link to StreamYard. That's what I'm broadcasting. That's the application. I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And she'll tell you how to set your mic and cam and how to do everything. Because I love to have you. I can have a max of 10 people on the screen at one time. With me included, I can have 9 more openings. And you can hear and talk about the case. Now, my last way of interacting in the podcast is to call in. There's my number. It's on right now. You can call between my show times. If you call before my show times or after my show times, I cannot answer the phone. So please call me, 626-698-0990. That's my office phone. I'll answer it. We use Vonage application on that one. And I just checked and everything is working fine. So I'm going to leave the phone up there. I'm going to leave the ticket about the 30-minute consultation for $60 on there. And I leave the number there for the office. So I've talked about how they interact with this podcast. One was just being in this room, using emojis, which I have right now 2 thumbs up. Thank you, people, for the 2 thumbs up. You can do love or smiley faces. I have a thumbs up from Joanne Rez and from Amos Mashasi Safi. Thank you for the thumbs up. Also, you can send me stars, and please check below. If you want to follow me, if you want to get notified, please check below. So that's the first way. The second way is to text me messages. The third way is to be a guest. And remember, being a guest or calling in, that's the fourth way, is to call in. Calling in or being a guest, you're eligible for a free 15-minute private consultation with Mr. Davis. Now, I got the name of the person, thankfully. Yeah, that was good, in the warrant. All right, left off with the warrant, Tessa. Tessa further says, yes, but the address wasn't the one they removed him from. Really? That was strange. It doesn't have that. You got to really check out the warrants. The warrant does not have the accusations on it. Wow. Wow, Tessa. Just a welfare and institution code. Well, the warrants I've seen say abuse or neglect. They may not give the details what abuse or neglect was. Now, JD just says Vincent should provide you a computer. I mean, seriously, I agree. Tell Mr. Vincent to get me a computer. Anyway, I'm working as best I can with my Bangladesh wages, and I'm trying to feed my family. My family is my main goal. I'm 75 years old. I'm a dinosaur, and all I want to do is provide my family. My family used to be of 8 people. It dropped down at Thanksgiving down to 2. But I'm back up to 4 because my sons are still with me. But at Christmas time, one of them is being talked to going back east with the people that brought me into this miserable experience. Anyway, if you guys want to call in, my number's here. And I do want to help you. I have a lot of information about my case, so I help you. And I've talked to over 700 people. I've been doing this for a year, twice a day, 14 shows a week. Never missed a day of it. I spent my Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving with you guys, my 4th of July. I may adjust the time sometimes, but I do 2 podcasts a day. And I talk to a lot of you, and a lot of you have told me your heart work and stories. Some of you have lost children in the hands of CPS. A mother from Macon, Georgia, found her baby who's in the hands of CPS cold and dead inside a play ball pit, which is where those styrofoam play balls, they're colorful, and kids jump around. The child was only 8, couldn't even walk, and probably was trampled to death because the CPS wasn't supervising. And now the mother has lost her child. So I've only met 3 social workers in this past year that talked on this show, and they were excellent. But where are the rest of you social workers? Why don't you call in and tell me your side of the story? Please, why don't you call in and tell me how you assist? You see, what happens is social workers use the police for intimidation. The police are supposed to handle criminal matters. False allegations seem to be up on the rise. It's so sad. It really is. You know, we need to change. We don't want to eliminate CPS because we need 1,000 people a day, 1,000 children go unreported. There's over 5,000 children being in 500,000 children being investigated. That's 5 football stadiums of people are being investigated by CPS across the country. It's terrible. It's terrible. Some of them are just really, 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 really bad. Hold on one second. Okay. Okay. I've yet to have any phone calls. I have answered some questions. JD wanted to hear about my story. Teresa was talking about warrants. And she said the code 300, you know, they got to make it so the lay people can understand a warrant. Putting a bunch of numbers down is terrible. Now, JD says, I heard you say late people. What does that mean, late people? I meant lay people, L-A-Y, lay people. There are 2 kinds of individuals that call in about CPS. They're a professional person, like your doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, a fireman, a policeman, a caregiver. Then there are the lay people, L-A-Y people, like your girlfriend, your acquaintances, your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your in-laws, you know, people that want to do retaliation. Oh, why would my in-laws complain about it? Good one. That's a good one. You know, I had never been asked that question, but from day one, they didn't even want me to marry my wife. They didn't even want me to have her visit me before I even was talking about marriage, before we had a romantic relationship. And I never forget, that my wife's dad sat me down on the end of the bed in Ohio and said, "You're going to be good to my daughter because I don't want anything to happen to my daughter." I said, "No, I love your daughter." But I know that when we sent our oldest daughter to Ohio, they were trying to think that that daughter would replace my wife. You see, they never liked my wife. They tortured her. They did hot water on her. They did hot coffee on her. They let her almost drown. And on top of that, they let her go to a concert when she was too young to protect herself. And her sister, her older sister, was supposed to watch her. She was too high on drugs at the concert to worry about her sister. And her friends were so high too. They all were. They all left her in the bathroom. She comes out of a bathroom when you have a concert of 100,000 people and you don't know where you are or where your thing is. And sure enough, some goofy guys, some guys that are interested in screwing, saw an easy prey. And two of them took my wife and raped her in the bushes.
I told you not to talk about this.
And I know that is a horrible, horrible thing. And what really happened was a beautiful child was conceived that later grew up to be a captain in the Air Force, a JAG lawyer. That's our oldest son. And he has a family of 2 kids. But somehow he's gotten told in his ear that he no longer wants his mother or his family here because somehow he's gone on the deep end. He thinks that our family's crazy. In fact, that's why all my in-laws, the mother, the father, the 3 sisters, the brother in Ohio, think not very highly of me. I had a job. I had a home when she came to see me. And when we had the CPS case going on back in 2015, 2010 for 5 years, I didn't really involve the family because it wasn't at that level. But when they came that day and stompled my home and made up all these stories, then suddenly my wife and I and the children are ripped from our hands. That first night, they're put in a shelter next to a prison. It was juvenile prisoners. They had a play yard outside of my kids' shelter. They could be exposed to prisoners. But if that wasn't bad enough, they had 2 beehives that were stinging all the kids. Then they had to sleep on rats and cockroaches because the place was dirty. The food was horrible. And their idea of education was to read a book to them. And my kids were STEM kids. They were into science, technology, engineering, math. And one of my children at 15 was going to a private school, one of the top private schools in the country. He's a brilliant. He's 25 now. He still lives at home, but he cares about a family. He believes in God, which is really important. And my young son just came off a wonderful, wonderful football career with the number 1 team in the country. And right now he's going to college. And he wants to be a movie director. And I'm really proud of him because he has a job. He's going to school, something that I did when I first started out in life. I worked and put my way through school. It took me a long time because I had a tendency to enjoy life too much. And it took me 10 years to get through. My wife is brilliant. She has 2 college degrees. She's really high educated and she's a really good Christian woman. But you got to have faith in God there, JD. You got to have faith in God. So I hope you understand what a lay person is. Oh my God, you can't hear me? My mic was on, I thought. True, JD, that's good. JD says a warrant is a charge. You must accept it discharge it, and hand it back. Same with you, JD. Okay, hopefully you understand. Family is really important here. We need life skills. And the problem is that there are not enough life skills in school. I think life skills should be taught all through pre-K, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. Things like bullying. Young kids need to know about bullying, how to stand up for themselves. As you get into high school, you need to know about sex. You need to know about marriage. In college, it's about marriage. Things like CPS you need to know about. You need to know about cooking. Excuse me. I didn't mean to sneeze like that. So life skills are very, very important there, JD. Michelle Riley, welcome you. You can hear me. Good. I was thinking that JD said he couldn't hear me. And I'm just checking my mic is up all the way. Okay. Because I hate to go over my spiel again, JD, about my in-laws and lay people. It isn't late people, it's lay people. My enunciation may not be good, JD. I never had any animosity against my in-laws, by the way. It's sad to watch a man that was the father of my wife die without ever saying he was sorry. It hurt my wife. My wife has been through so much hurt. It's unbelievable. This child protection agency hurts big time. I cry every day. I hurt to hear, people that died at that school yesterday. Or a man that has a family of two with a wife that was walking with his back and was brutally killed in the back. And now we're spending all this gobs of money to fly this guy, to give him he has the money anyway. He should have his family pay for the airfare and the cost of extra policemen and all the stuff that goes there. It's crazy. Our system is so crazy. We're going to go bankrupt tomorrow. Because, again, we're out of money. We keep giving the money to the child protection system. It's $1 trillion business. They don't need all this money. That incentive that President Clinton signed into law that says we want you to go into foster care will reward you by giving you thousands and thousands of incentives. What happened to family reunification? They don't care about it. It isn't in their language. It isn't in their language. Hi, Eugene. I remember you. Okay, I never lived in NorCal. I've been up there to Santa Cruz, San Jose. I have relatives up in the Silicon Valley. I've been to Frisco a lot. I've been to Sacramento. I've been all over. I've everywhere there, but no, I did not live in NorCal. Is that where you're from, JD? Is NorCal? And Eugene, I'm so glad you're coming, but you're coming at the tail end. There's only about 7 minutes left of this podcast. But I got it so that my jittering is down. What was happening was that my space bar, there's something wrong. Either it's got junk behind it or something. So I'm using a keyboard connected to my laptop. Anyway, anyone have any other further questions? My phone number's been up the whole time. Any of you that want to call in can call in. I'd love to hear from you. Now, I've covered all the rules except 2 of them. Rule number 2 is the document rule. You need to organize your documents. I was terrible about that. You need to get a notebook, 3-ring binder, 3 inches thick, a large notebook, and you want to put subject dividers. And one of the most important documents that you need to create is a time log incident. Time log incident, where you write down every incident you have with the police, the social workers, the children or the school people or the hospital, whatever it is, you write down on the first line the date, the time, and the location, and who was involved in the incident. Then the second line, you write a one-sentence summary of what the incident was. Then the third line is the outcome of the incident. And you do that for every one of them. You may have 100 incidents by a month time, but in 3 years, you're not going to remember them all. So that's why you need to write it down. And you need a place to keep all your documents together. Now, that was rule 2. And rule number 4 is that you need to do your research on the internet. The internet is valuable. My wife is an expert on researching on the internet. She finds so many good stuff on there. But it's how you phrase your questions is going to help you with CPS. You want to start off with the city, followed by the state. Now, if your city is a small city like Athens, Georgia, you may want to put a comma and put Atlanta. So it's Athens, comma, Atlanta, Georgia. Then you want to put the letter CPS. And right away, you have a million things come up. But if you want to narrow it down, then you describe what you're looking for. You want to know about the ICWA Act of 1978, the Indian Child Welfare Act, or about a 388 motion, or about a 160 hearing, or how do you file a complaint? How do you get your kids back? What are the steps? So you do that, and you want to spend 60, 70 hours. It's easy to do that, but it'll wealth you. You need all by your cases. You need the procedure and handbook of your particular CPS. They have one. I have found out so much. I have over 137 tabs open right now that I can bounce around from state to state, or from people are asking me questions. I look it up. So that's rule number 4. And 5 is really important because it's your documents. You need to make copies of birth certificates, social security cards, marriage certificates, driver's license, grade reports, medical records, shot records. You need to make all these documents, put them in an envelope, and have them with your notebook, because a lot of times you'll be questioned. It's like they start off with the father. He's the alleged father, even though on the birth certificate it says the father is me, Bob Pace. But they called you the alleged father. It's really ridiculous what CPS does, intimidations and everything on that. They will not be your friend. They will lie. They are so noted for lying. They're so bad. Yeah, good. I'm glad I fixed the sound. I really hate to talk and not hear it there. I know the U.S. is in debt. There's no question we're in debt. Most of the world's in debt to the U.S. But anyway, it's going to be Trump's issue. And right now, it's going to be a businessman run our country. And maybe things will get better. Prices need to come down. Gas is coming down. It's come down 30 cents the last couple of weeks. Food has gone up 50 cents. And the food people tell me it's going to be a year before you see decreases in food. It's ridiculous to pay almost $6 for a gallon of milk when a year ago it was $3. And like bananas at 75 cents a pound when it was 25 cents a pound. I mean, even cabbage is so silly. You got the pink cabbage or the purple cabbage and the green cabbage. Well, they got the purple cabbage $1.50 a pound. They got the green cabbage at $1.25. And, it all adds up. I know it is. Corn, you have to pay $1 for a year of corn. What happened to the $4 for a quarter for corn? So a lot of things have to be changed, and CPS is one of them, and I've been trying to tell people ideas how we can change it. And that's for another time, because I do have to end my podcast. I've talked for over an hour. It's already after 8 o'clock. I have a dinner for a family to take care of. So I need to go. I want to say that you're my family. All of you that are in here are part of my family. And I'm glad you joined this podcast. I want to thank JD for their comments, UG, I want to thank Michelle Riley. I want to thank Tessa French. And I want to thank, who else to leave out here? Okay. I think I got everybody. Oh, Christina from Inglewood, California. Didn't forget you, Christina. She was in earlier on. I think Tessa was first and JD, but thank you all your supporters. Thank you for the emojis. Thank you for listening. Please do not give up on your kids. Keep fighting to get them back. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. So save your questions tomorrow. I'll be there. And you're going to hear Vincent Davis, my attorney, talk for a brief minute. So God bless you. And this is Bob Pace signing off.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.